I'm Martha Thorn with the Thorn Collection and Coldwell Banker Residential Real Estate, and I'm here today to show you why it's important to do a termite inspection when you purchase a home. I'm here with Tim Davis today from SWAT Pest Control, and we're going to talk about why it's important to do a termite inspection and a little bit about termites, because I know a lot of people moving here from Florida are afraid of them. There's really nothing to be afraid of as long as you have an inspection and it's taken care of. So you want to tell us about a termite inspection, what it involves?
So what we do is we come in, we have a screwdriver that we tap on the baseboards. We do mostly a visual inspection. We are allowed to probe if we find evidence, either a termite or water damage. We are allowed to probe in those areas. We look in the attic, look in around the exterior. You want to look in your soffits. We tap on the soffits if it's aluminum, because pellets will fall out. And it's very important in the state of Florida to have something done. Termites are very common in the state of Florida, and it's something that we highly recommend. Would
you tell them what types of termites there are? I know there are two types of termites, but then there's also a beetle. So tell them all three and what they are.
Right. So we have drywood termites, subterranean termites, and powder post beetles, and those are all WDOs that we have to look for. Subterranean termites come up from the ground. All termites swarm. Drywood termites come through the air. Powder post beetles most likely come in with the wood. Drywood termites can come in with the wood with new cabinets, new dressers, new vanities, any kind of new material, wood material items. They can come in with that.
Right. And it's my understanding that the most damage is done by subterranean termites.
Correct. Subterranean termite damage, it's not the size of the termite, it's the size of the colony. Where a drywood termite colony could be a couple hundred termites, to where a subterranean colony could be, 100,000, 200,000, up to 1 million termites. So it's the size of the colony that does the damage, and the subterranean termites are the bigger
damage control.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the other thing too that I think is really important is when I have an out-of-state buyer that's buying something and we all of a sudden find termites, they panic. But what I always tell them, the only way to get a warranty for termites is to have the seller treat.
Yes.
And then you do have a warranty. So what are the treatments that you do for those three types of insects?
So for drywood termites, depending on the situation, you can either spot treat or fumigate. If I ever see wings, my recommendation is always fumigation.
And what is that? Tell them what that is.
That is a tent. What they do is they put a tent over the house and they gas it. The gas is in the house for 24 hours, approximately 24 hours. It doesn't have to be 24 hours, but they leave the tent on for 24 hours. You have to be out of the house for approximately 40 hours, 2 and 3/4 days. Basically, you want to be out of the house. So it's 48, so about 54 hours you want to be out of the house. And then with the powder post beetles, it's the same thing. You have to fumigate, but you have to use anywhere from 3 to 10 times the gas.
Right.
So it's more expensive. Subterranean termites, you can do a Centricon, a baiting system. You can do a liquid treatment. That's what we provide, either one of those. It all depends on the surroundings of the house, whether we can use Centricon or if you have to go through liquid.
And what is the difference in those two treatments?
So the liquid treatment is, what we do is we trench down the house, trench around the house 4 to 6 inches. Any kind of cement, we drill down below the cement, and we install a liquid around the house, completely around the house. Where a bait system is, we put Centricon, they're green stations. Many people are selling them in yards. Those are bait systems, and they're active 24/7. So we put those like every 4 steps around the house, and three sides of the house need to be exposed for us to use those.
Okay. So I always tell sellers, particularly, is if you did have a house treated in the past, please keep your warranty up.
Absolutely.
It's really important. They will send you a warranty at the end of the year. And a lot of sellers say, well, I don't need that. I have somebody come and check for termites. But when you're passing it on to a new buyer and you don't have your warranty, you're basically starting over.
Yes, what I always tell people, if they're selling a house, keep the warranty,
Right.
because if the inspector comes in and finds damage, the buyer can say, well, I want it treated, even though you've had it treated. There's no warranty. So if you had the warranty, they can just say, hey, I have a warranty,
Right.
so there's no reason to treat it.
And as far as from the naked eye, from a seller's standpoint or from a buyer's standpoint, my understanding is the visibility of wings from the drywood termites that they've dropped are the tubes from the subterranean termites.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
So, and also drywoods, what they do is they poke a little hole in the wall and they push out the frass, which is the wood that they can't digest.
Okay, I didn't realize that. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Well, thank you very much, Tim. I
Oh, no
appreciate it.
problem. Thank you.
And if anybody needs a great inspector, SWAT does a great job, and I highly recommend them. Thank you.
Thank you.